Welcome to the Business Bravery podcast, inspiring stories from coaches and course creators to help you do the next brave thing in your business. Coming up on the Business Bravery podcast, I'm your host, Tiffany Gilliland, an Australian business and mindset coach with 10 years experience in online marketing and the creator of the Business Bravery framework. I help coaches like you to be brave so you can stop dreaming and start doing that next big brave step and finally make more impact and get more clients. From speaking on camera to selling to launching, my approach to bravery helps you take bigger leaps without the mindset spirals. It's the secret ingredient to bigger results. In this episode, I had the pleasure of chatting with McKenna Dodge and Charissa Higgins, who teach online coaches and affiliate marketers to become unmistakable thought leaders in their industries with strategic brand positioning that gives them the competitive edge and amplifies their revenue. Charissa and McKenna have complementary skills and strengths that make their partnership thrive. Charissa brings her abundant energy and passion, while McKenna's background in IT and strategic thinking adds a step-by-step roadmap for implementation. Together, they create an unbeatable combination of confidence and mindset work, along with practical strategies to help their clients succeed. One of the brave things they encourage their clients to do is to reach out to other leaders and collaborate. By presenting themselves as valuable contributors, they can spread their brand awareness and make a deeper impact in their community. Charissa and McKenna also shared their plans to revamp their group program and offer one-on-one coaching, adding more value and up-leveling their services. They discuss the importance of leaning into their strengths and being brave enough to pursue their own vision, rather than following what others say they should do. With that said, this is an amazing episode, and I can't wait to share with you McKenna and Carissa's stories of business bravery, past, present, and future. Now, who's ready for some business bravery inspiration? Let's dive in. Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here this week with the amazing Charissa Higgins and McKenna Dodge. It is awesome to be talking to them about what they have going on in their business in terms of bravery. And I will hand it over to them to tell us all about their business that they're doing. And yeah, hi guys. Yeah, tell me all about your business and what brave things you have going on right now in your business.
Well, can I just say I love that you use the word brave, because I truly feel like when we say yes to entrepreneurship, like there's no other way. You have to be courageous and brave, and just there's so many things that get, thrown at you and you're like, wow, I've never experienced this, and you have to expand in so many ways. So the being brave is just, you have to have it. You have to own it. As far as what we do, we are partners in crime. So we run Learn, Earn, Impact, and we really help thought leaders and rising coaches and high ticket affiliate marketers really create an unmistakable brand. And when we talk about branding, it's not so much the visuals, right? It's what comes before. It's the foundation. So we really help our clients become brave in their message and brave in their authenticity and how they show up, so that they can stand out from their industry and really become unmistakable, where they're sought after. They're not just like a blip in somebody's day, but they're now sought after in their industry because of that deeper connection and the amazing freaking. Can we swear on this podcast or no?
Yeah, it's all right. I'm Australian.
Oh, no.
We swear.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I was going to say standing out with magnetic as fuck content, because it's just so different from everybody else's. So that's a little bit a brief of what we do inside Learn, Earn, Impact. McKenna, I don't know if you want to go deeper into that.
No, I think as it comes organically in the conversation, we can certainly share. The beauty of what Charissa and I do is she and I have very distinct and yet complementary skills and strengths within our partnership and within the coaching that we do. I have a background in IT, in help desk support, before I got into working, or before I retired and got into working in online marketing exclusively. I worked in tech support, like ones and zeros, like what's the game plan? A little bit of an overthinker, a lot of a perfectionist. So, the step-by-step roadmap, like the implementation, like here, how are we going to get from here to there? Here's the steps to get there, is very much a strength of mine. I'm also an introvert, so I'm a very good listener and helping people to pull out like things in their stories that are really potent in the message that they want to communicate. Now, Charissa, honestly, like the best analogy that we ever heard was actually said as a joke from a friend of ours. And he said that if McKenna and Charissa were just dropped into the middle of a field in the middle of nowhere, like some remote location, that Charissa would be frolicking through the fields and taking pictures of the flowers and, you know, dancing in the streams and stuff, while I would be, you know, triangulating our location and plotting a course to the nearest civilization after I located water and shelter. So it works out as this beautiful combination, you know, of strategy with these beautiful skills that Charissa has in confidence and mindset. And exactly like she said, you know, where she's like, you know, holy cow, you know, bravery. In her case, she usually speaks to this concept of boldness and fully owning your authentic self and believing in yourself in whatever you choose to do in life or in business. And so it makes this really amazing combination for our clients within our communities, within our paid programs, of combining the confidence and the mindset work that you need to be brave enough to chase your dreams with, okay, now what do we actually do? We're brave enough to do it, but like, how do I take the first step? So it becomes this really cool, cohesive collaboration, kind of the yin and the yang, or the peanut butter and the jelly. Like, how do we combine these amazing facets of mindset work and confidence work so that you're fired up and ready to go? You're ready to take on whatever it is in your life, or it's specifically in your, you know, online business. And then pair that with, okay, what's the implementation plan of how we can act on that courage that we have found to make a difference in the lives of others through the offers that we have in the online space.
Yeah. Oh, that's so powerful, that having not just the courage and the bravery, but also having the plan and exactly how to do it and that kind of thing. So yeah, definitely see the power of those two together. And I love what you said about how McKenna would be the one finding water, shelter, and civilization, and Charissa would be off doing that kind of thing. I kind of have both of those in my brain. So I started in IT before I moved into marketing. So yeah, I have both of those in my head. But I can imagine how powerful it is having the two of you in a business. That'd be so amazing.
That's what our clients say a lot, is they're like, I'm a little bit of Charissa and I'm a little bit of McKenna. And on any given day, I might need more of this or more of that. And so they're like, the fact that I can come into one program, one call, and get both of these things that I need. Like, we can't teach you ad strategy. Like, we're not going to teach you funnels or financials, but we'll teach you how to create this really kick-ass brand online that incorporates, you know, your heart and your mission for how you want to serve, as well as marketing and making sales in whatever that offer is, whether it's coaching, whether it's affiliate marketing, whether it's direct sales, you know, if it's a service, like whatever that looks like. So our clients frequently comment on that ability to get both and not have to hire two completely separate coaches who aren't necessarily communicating. And you're like, you got homework from this one and homework from that one. And it's like, it's like going to grade school again, where you're like, do my teachers know that I have 8 different classes who all gave me homework? Like, instead being able to come to these calls and be like, okay, here's the homework from Charissa and here's the homework from McKenna, and they're cohesive and they work together. And it's like, first you're going to do this and then you're going to implement it. So it works really well for them.
Yeah. Oh man, that's amazing. So what brave things are you guys doing now in your business?
Brave things.
And this doesn't have to mean big. This can be small things that are just outside of your comfort zone too. So
well, honestly, 2 things come to mind right now. Something that we were doing that I think takes a lot of bravery, that so many rising leaders and leaders want to be doing, they just don't know how to go about it because they don't have the confidence into how to present their value yet, is just going to other leaders and saying, hey, how can we collaborate? Whether that's on a podcast or lives or free trainings to their masterminds or their teams, right? And just really presenting yourself as, I can offer this value. Hey, what do you say? Do you want to collaborate? And that takes bravery, right? And it's the number one thing that's going to help you get your message out there, because the women we work with, what comes before anything is the impact that they have in their community. right? And in order to have that impact, we need your brand awareness to be spread. And that is one of the best ways to just really own who you are and the value, and just go out and ask people, can I come into your world? How can we make this happen? And then we're helping each, all the women spread their messages. And it's a win-win. It's a win-win was the word I'm looking for.
Situation.
Situation. That is the word I'm looking for. So that's one brave thing. Like if anyone's listening to this right now and you're like, how can I build my visibility and spread my brand awareness of what I do and the impact I want to have, be brave today and just go ask someone who you've been watching, who you look up to, and say, how can we collaborate? How can we help each other get our messages across to each other's networks? Like that is phenomenal. So I would say that's one brave thing. Another brave thing that we are doing is we're working on revamping our one-on-one coaching clients because we just up-leveled so much. Can you take over?
For those of you who are listening and don't have a video feed on this, Carissa's daughter just walked into the recording studio here.
Oh, good.
So what Charissa was saying was we're going through and revamping both our group program, but starting it in a one-on-one community, basically in a one-on-one setup. And so we're adding so many additional things in and trainings and just majorly up leveling the services that we offer. And like, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, we've known and can teach these things for a really long time, but the courage to own, like, we know our shit in this space and like, we're gonna, show up with that. And we're going to charge the value of what that's worth as well. Part of that up level, it's like, how do we increase the program? How do we grow the program? How do we make it more valuable? And also, I think for a lot of women, especially, they're afraid to charge their worth. And so looking at, how do we serve people at the highest level? How do we pour the most value in that we can, while also making sure it's an equal value exchange and giving ourselves permission to lean into the change that we've been like wanting to make and joking about making for like probably 8 months to a year. We're like, oh, tee-hee, like, what if we? And then it's like, okay, but like, really, what if we? Like, what would that look like? And how could we serve people at a higher level through that? And being brave enough to be like, we're going to make it happen, even though it's scary, even though it's going to take, investments and time and energy. It's like, what's going to come out of that, not just for us, but for our clients as well. It's like, it's exciting. And also like a little bit like, your palms get sweaty and your like stomach is churning a little bit. It's like, holy cow, like, are we ready to make this leap?
Wow. So what was it that helped you make that decision from joking around about, oh, what if we did this, to actually doing it? Like what was that thought process?
I think we started mapping out. So we started to revisit our customer journey because I think that's a really big part of, having that recurring clients coming back and trusting you and they wanting whatever you put out there, right? So we went back and we started mapping out our customer journey, and we realized that our customer journey is so in depth, like what we wanted it to be. Like it is very intimate, it's very in depth. And then we realized, well, shoot, we need this program to match up with our customer journey. And we started mapping it out, like just brain dumping. It was brain dumping. And we looked at it and we're like, we just mapped out our entire like elevated program right here. And just to see it all done, and we're like, wow, okay. So that gave us the confidence. We have it mapped out. Like we did the hard brain dumping work. Now let's just make that happen.
Yeah, let's build the thing. And it was really interesting because it started as, how do we add a little bit more process around the program that we already have? But as we were going through, and it's like, instead of trying to, not exactly systematize, but I don't have a better word in this moment, trying to systematize some of the things about our existing program, we were like, but what if we did this? And what about this thing over here? And one of the things that we noticed, like taking our clients' results and their sticking points and the things that they're maybe getting through faster than we thought we would, or the things where they're getting stuck longer than we thought that they would. it was like incorporating all of this like combination of customer research plus our skills and strengths that maybe aren't fully being utilized to their maximum capacity yet, as well as honestly, like the things we're passionate about, and recognizing kind of this evolution of where Learn, Earn, Impact started. Gosh, I think 3 years ago. I think we're coming up on our third anniversary, maybe, or birthday. I don't know, whatever. The celebratory, it's been 3 years. We were recognizing that, you know, the things that we were really skilled at and excited about teaching in the beginning 3 years ago, it started with, you know, how to essentially, boiling it down, like how to make money quickly in a social selling business, network marketing, direct sales, that kind of thing. So it was like this little, you know, $1,000 course. It was like a 12-week course with coaching and training and all these kinds of things. And as Charissa and I, you know, over the last 3 years have been talking about our passion and what we really want and what we're excited about teaching people, it was about so much more than just like, how can you make money fast online? Like Charissa and I are very heart-led people. And we're like, you know, where we find the most passion is helping people to uncover the elements of their story and their insights and their experience and why they are so passionate about what they're selling. It's not just about what you sell. It's about, why are you passionate about sharing that with the world? How is it going to change lives? How is it going to impact, you know, your life, your family's life, the lives of your clients and your team members? And it became so much more. And so over time, you know, our program has evolved pretty drastically, you know, from this little, you know, 12-week social selling accelerator to this 6-month like hybrid of done with you marketing agency with organic like attraction marketing content, coaching and implementation, all married together into this really beautiful program. And as Charissa and I were talking about, you know, the things that we are the most lit up to coach on and to talk about, it was helping women primarily. I mean, we've worked with a couple of men as well, but our hearts are definitely in serving women, in helping them to really uncover the unique elements of their story and their passions and why they want to help, why they have these offerings, you know, these, whether it's network marketing products, whether it's a coaching program, whatever that looks like, that they're marketing through social media. Like, why do you care about it so much? And how can we take this thing that you are on fire for and help you to shine that light out on social media where other people can see it, where it's not just like, hey, you know, buy my da 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 da. Like, why do you care about it? And helping women to have these light bulb moments where they realize, sometimes in ways that they didn't ever connect the dots before, why they were so excited about this and why it's going to change people's lives. And then helping them with the positioning of that, of how do you get that offer in front of the right people who are looking for what you have? And how do you position yourself in that place of, I'm here to serve you, I'm here to help you, and this is the vehicle by which I do it, but ultimately this is the mission that I have behind my business. And so it took Charissa and I on this whole like just journey over the last few years of like, what do we really want this program to look like? And how do we want to impact others? You know, kind of that same discovery process for ourselves that we were like, we're teaching our clients this thing. What does this look like in our own coaching program? And allowing that to evolve and grow and to brainstorm and to pull in the strengths that we have and the passions that we have and kind of marrying those all together. And so then when we went to sit down to do this client journey, it's like, okay, you know, so here's what we're teaching our clients. Here's where we want to add things. Here's where these things are maybe not as relevant as they used to be. And then instead of just being like, okay, we're going to map for where we are, we were like, we want to map, like, what would this look like in our most ideal world where we had our heck yes, perfect fit, amazing clients. And they were looking for exactly what we offer, exactly the services and the strengths and the skills that we have. What would that look like? And so it turned into more of like, what do we want our client journey to look like in the future? compared to what does it look like now, and not adding anything that we can't already teach, but maybe adding things in that we know that we haven't been sharing to the fullest capacity that we could be. And so it was really cool, like to Carissa's point, like mapping this all out. She was actually in town. She came out to visit me in Oregon. And I have this like giant executive whiteboard in my dining room because I work from home exclusively. So we like makeshift, corporate meeting room, and mapped this thing out. And it was like, how do people need to learn, and what needs to come first and what needs to come second? And where does their mindset falter, and where do they need reinforcement of their brand and tying back to their values? And then how do we implement that going forward? And it just turned into this really beautiful creation that we kind of stopped at the end, and we were like looking at this thing and we're like, we're not charging enough for what we teach right now, not even including what is on that whiteboard, which like was a combination of exciting and also like scare the bejesus out of you, because you're like, oh man, like that's amazing and that's where we're headed. And like you kind of get that like intimidation a little bit where you're like, are we ready for this level up, like to put that out in the world?
Wow. Yeah. And it's just interesting, like how you talk about that, mapping out that client journey and what they're going through. And I can really think about how, what you said before about how you're the one who maps out the systems and finds the fresh water, everything. I see how lit up you get. Oh, there was something else I was going to say, and it was, brain, where did you go? Okay. But yes, I love what you're saying. This was my question. How do you move through that when it's like you're looking at the board and it's like a bit intimidating, and it's like, because you're basically looking at you doing a level up in your business for you guys. How do you guys, or how did you work through that to move forward when it's like this intimidating, wow, I didn't even know that was my next level, but here it is. I'm on the edge. How do you move forward in that situation?
I always look at everything. Well, it takes a lot for me to be super intimidated, because I always look at things like baby steps. Like I know that we already have what it takes to make this happen, right? It's just like logistically, when do we have the time? Because we are on separate ends of the United States. Like when do we have that time to sit down and record the new trainings? Really, that's like the most daunting part of it, right? But other than that, like it's just the baby steps. We know we're going here, right? And another thing that we've started doing is taking clients on to kind of test it out, right? Test out this new idea that we have, see where the points are that we need a little bit more, or maybe we planned something out that we didn't need, but really like testing it with our clients to see the results that they get with it. And that also brings so much confidence to what we're doing as well. Like, okay, we just got them amazing results, freaking amazing. Like, let's just bring it out to the world. So I always look at things in baby steps and testing them. Like that goes back to just taking that action, right? We have it. And instead of having the entire program already done, let's test it out now as we are building it with women who we know will benefit from it, and go from there. I mean, my look on it is a little different than McKenna's, because once again, I'm the one taking pictures of wildflowers and playing around in the water. I'm a very much messy action taker, but I still think with the planning that we have, like McKenna feels pretty good about it. But you might have one point where it's, harder. I don't know. You explain your part is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So it creates an interesting dynamic sometimes. In some cases, it really helps that if your business partner is a confidence coach, that kind of helps, because, the overthinker in me is like, what about this? And what about this? And what about this? And all of the like logistics going on. And what about building this thing? And what about this? And what about the flow and the emails that accompany the, it gets to be a lot. And so then, Charissa comes in with this, sometimes like oversimplification where it's like, it can't be that simple. It really can't. And she's like, no, it's not, but we're going to go with it anyway. Like, this is how we roll with it. And I think ultimately, I think the thing that makes the biggest difference is giving ourselves permission to lean into the way that we want to grow. And, for Charissa, she's very wing it. She's very fly by the seat of her pants. I'm very much so like, Charissa dubbed me the queen of analogies. So here we go.
Yeah.
You know, Charissa is very much the kind of person that would like run up to the edge of the cliff face and just jump off, right? I am not. I'm gonna, you know, creep up there. I'm gonna be checking all the rocks along the way to make sure we're not gonna landslide out from under me. And then I'm gonna peer over the edge. And then I'm gonna take 3 steps to the right so I don't hit that tree on the way down. And then I'm a jump. But the really beautiful part is that we kind of balance each other out. Like we give each other permission to be ourselves and also call each other out. Like if Chris is like a little too like wing it, and I'm like, okay, but like our clients are not going to be able to implement that thing. Like reel it back in. I love the enthusiasm, but like let's give some steps. And, you know, on the flip side of that, when I'm like overthinking the crap out of it and all the processes and the logisticals, you know, so down in the nitty gritty, Charissa can pull me back up to that 30,000 foot view and be like, okay, but big picture, like, is this little stuff that you're so worried about really that significant in the grand scheme of things? And it's like, oh, okay, well, no, it's not. And so I think for us, you know, we have kind of the 2 halves, you know, the 2 peas in the pod a little bit to kind of balance each other out. But I think even as, you know, an individual, like giving yourself permission to lean into what your strengths are, recognizing where your weaknesses are, being able to call yourself out on those, and giving yourself permission to lean into what's working for you, to lean into what you're most passionate about, not because you should, not because your coach told you you have to, but because you're like, this is where I'm called to go, and this is how I'm called to impact. And the best way that I can set that up looks like this. Charissa, you totally look like you have a thought.
Yeah, you just like sparked something as you were saying that, because something that you were saying, how you step into your gifts and play into your gifts. And a lot of this takes bravery, I believe, too, because sometimes people don't realize the strength of their gift. They don't even realize the gift that they have. And something I hear from almost every woman that we meet is, you know, Charissa, I love your energy. And for years, I was like, that's not enough to help people. Like me having energy, how does that help people? Like that's ridiculous, right? And I heard it enough on repeat. I was like, holy crap, I'm helping people because I have this abundant energy and I have so much to give, right? And I can basically transfer this energy to women who need it to see their brilliance. Like they need to see their worth. They need to see their brilliance. They need to see their gifts as well. And my energy helps them do that, right? I help them work through that. And so for the longest time, I wasn't brave with my gift. I was like, no, I'm just going to keep it to myself, because that's not like that. To me, it was like, I'm not smart enough. Like I didn't graduate with a college degree. Like I don't have something significant, and energy cannot be it. Like that just can't be it. So now part of my brand, something I talk about all the time, is having that expansive energy and having the ability to give it to women who need it. They just need that little extra energy transferred to them so they can see how amazing they already are. So that just sparked like having bravery in the gifts and really understanding what your gifts are and playing into them. Like they're worthy. However you're thinking about them, like they're all so worthy, and you just have to really lean into them.
Oh man, that's so powerful, just because like my own experiences, it took me ages to learn the energy piece of business. Like I was so stuck in the overworking, the overthinking, and just having like not being enough and having to work harder, until like I had to invest in a coach who helped me with that, the energy piece, and just sort of understanding how you can approach things differently just in your mindset, but in that energy as well. So yeah, it's definitely understanding those strengths and gifts. I completely agree. Yeah. Wow. So something I do after we talk about what you're doing now, Brave, in your business, is sort of shifting into the past and how you guys got started in, maybe you had 2 different businesses. I'm not quite sure. That's often how it works before people end up connecting, I'd love to know, like, how did you meet, and sort of what brave things did you have to do to maybe start your business as it is now, or pick wherever you want to go with that.
No, I'll start it because McKenna's really good with telling, like, she's awesome at telling this story because she's great at storytelling, like details and all. So you'll feel like you're like, oh, I'm in it. But I have to start it because
we had two very different experiences.
Well, it's just funny because this is probably one of the most brave things you can do, because we really did start a business. There was actually 3 of us, but we did start a business, and McKenna and I didn't really even know each other. So that right there was like, okay, let's just see how this goes. Like that's like brave in itself, right?
But you guys had a mutual friend that introduced you, and that's how. Okay.
Yeah, so we were all in a coaching program together, right? And I remember seeing McKenna in these huge, it was like a huge coaching program, where there's like 30, 50 squares and you're just like this tiny thing, and there's so many people, right? And I remember every time I got onto the coaching call, McKenna was always there raising her hand with the little emoji hand up, or talking and asking questions. And I'm sitting back. At that time, I wasn't as confident. So I'm just sitting back, like listening to everyone. And I was like, this McKenna girl, like I remember, because she has red hair, so it stuck out, right? And I remember going, man, this McKenna chick, she's always talking. And I'm like, she's like kind of a know-it-all. Like that's what I was thinking. And I was like, but for some reason, it almost was like triggering to me. I was like, why is she always asking the questions when no one else is asking the questions? And she'll tell the rest of the story. But now I look back and I was like, well, the reason I thought that she was a know-it-all because I secretly wanted to be asking the questions, but I just didn't have the confidence to ask the questions. So I'm like, McKenna's getting all her questions asked, right? She's first in line, and I'm sitting here going, who is this chick, this know-it-all, right? So McKenna doesn't remember me, obviously, because I was the fly on the wall, which I'm no longer a fly on the wall, and I hope none of you become the fly on the wall because you don't learn anything. But be a McKenna, be a know-it-all, and just like freaking ask the questions. But McKenna didn't. I mean, I'll let her finish it, but she did not know me until we got connected after the coach.
I had no idea, which is ironic because in person, Charissa is very much the extroverted social butterfly, like dances on TikTok. Like, I mean, I don't think TikTok even existed, 3 years ago, but like she's very outgoing. She's very sociable. I'm the introvert. I'm the one who, if you can convince me to come to the party, I'm hanging out on the floor in the kitchen with the dog, not talking to anybody. I'm like, no. But within this platform, I was really all in on trying to figure out like how to grow this online business. I was working in tech support. I worked full-time there. I was also going to school full-time for, I think it was my bachelor's, I think at that point. And then was also growing this like online business, this network marketing business on the side. And so I became comfortable in the space within the constraints of, Zoom, right? In the Brady Bunch boxes, in showing up and answering questions and asking questions. And one of the things that has always been a gift of mine that I honestly didn't really realize was a gift until I started working with Charissa, and she's like, hello, was breaking complicated concepts down into these smaller, like implementable, understandable things. It was a gift of mine. I realize, now hindsight 2020, in tech support, for example, like nobody gives two craps about their printer driver not working. Like they don't want to understand the ones and zeros of the binary. They don't care. But when they're like, okay, but why is it broken? Like, why was it not working? They want to know that they didn't do something wrong. But it's like the difference between like being like, well, the this and the that and the driver, and it was uninstalled and it needed this update, like, bleh, like nobody cares and nobody's going to understand that. But if I'm like So basically, the printer driver wasn't working. Think of it like a translator. Your computer was speaking English and your printer was speaking French, so they weren't communicating together. And people are like, oh, that makes so much sense. And so one of the things that I was finding was in a lot of these calls, especially as I was learning more and more, and marrying that together with this gift that I had of helping people who were like struggling with trying to understand a concept, with being able to help them with turning it into an analogy, or turning it into, they're like, I don't get it. Like, say it to me differently. And I was like, okay, like perspective shift. Like, I swear you could like see the gears shift in my head. And I'm like, what about this approach? And they're like, oh my God, I get it. So, and I, like Charissa said, I had no idea who she was, like, and not from like a rude place, but just like, you know, the people who were the little flies on the wall who never said anything, who never popped up in the chats, you know, like, I'm within the constraints of social media marketing and training and coaching. I'm here to help. And it's like, how can I explain this? How can I break this down? How can I help the other people within the program? And so when the third gal, Michelle, was like, hey, so I want to start a thing, and it's different than what we're in. It leverages like some of the concepts, but like, I want to do this other thing over here. And like, Pikachu, I choose you, like McKenna and Charissa, like, you two are the ones. Like, she saw something in us, you know, these unique strengths that we had. And so, you know, we all jump on a Zoom together, and I had no idea who she was. I'm like, oh, okay, spunky blonde. Like, I searched her on social media, and I'm like, oh, okay, she like dances on the internet or something. Like, okay, cool. Like, I'm sure she's got some amazing skills. I don't know what they are, but okay. And Carissa's over here on the other end. She's like, oh man, it's that redhead. Like, what in the world are we going to do with this? And, you know, as time went on, you know, we realized that we had such a beautiful complementary, like different but complementary skill sets. And, you know, over time, the original gal who brought us both together, she went in a different direction. We love her, and she's so passionate about what she's doing now. But when she decided that she didn't want to run this company anymore, Charissa and I were like, what if we do? Like, what if we want to continue this thing and take it and grow it and make it even better? Like, and she's like, okay, I guess. So Charissa and I took over her company and continued growing and expanding and finding those ways that we could each step into our own gifts. And, you know, Charissa has strengths and McKenna has strengths, and they work together, but not feeling like we are, you know, this one company who can only do one thing. It's like, no, it's like, how can we combine the best of both of what we have together into something really beautiful to impact the lives of others? And over time, you know, it's like, kind of to Carissa's point, like, she was like, well, like, I never had the degree, you know, I never felt like I was smart enough. I never felt like I could, you know, explain things. Or she's like, you know, McKenna, when you listen to somebody and you're really quiet for a long time, and then whatever you spit out next is like pure liquid gold, because it's like the way that I can break things down and pull out kind of like a ball of yarn. And I'm like, listening, right? Seeing this ball of yarn, and I'm just like sitting there and thinking and not touching it, and then just pull this one beautiful thread out of the middle. And so Charissa was like, you know, learning to love, and then learning to accept, you know, some of these skills that I had. And meanwhile, you know, I'm on the other side, like, oh man, like, this girl who dances on the internet, she's extroverted and she like talks to people. What the heck? Like, why would we do that? Like, you know, back to like, you know, McKenna introvert, you know, with the dog on the floor in the kitchen, you know. And so it was this beautiful way of not only us serving others, but us serving each other as well. And being, I hate to say being brave enough. I mean, I know it's like kind of the theme of the podcast, but nonetheless, like being brave enough to overcome those like initial judgments and like, oh my gosh, like, she is so different than me, to kind of take on some of those traits. And like Carissa's point, you know, realizing it's like triggered by it because it's one of the things I wish I had and I don't see in myself, but I see in this other person. And I'll kind of let Charissa finish that off with, you know, how that's evolved over time and like what that looks like for her.
Oh yeah, I think we are the yin and the yang. We were meant, I truly believe, and I've told McKenna this before, like we were meant to meet and we were meant to build something together, because the way that our two personalities, it just creates fire, right? And she's helping me grow and I'm helping her grow, not only personally, but in business as well. Like I just believe, however the universe works, like we were meant to be a team in whatever capacity that would be. Like, and obviously it's a coaching program that we somehow got. Like, it's just crazy how it all happened. But yeah, it works in the best way. And I couldn't see myself. Like, I think now if I worked with someone like myself, what? Like, yeah. No, like it's not as impactful. And everyone asks, like, what's the one thing that stands out about your coaching program? Because we teach strategic brand positioning, which a lot of other people teach, right? They teach you how to create content. But the one thing that a lot of coaches cannot offer is two coaches in one program with two completely different gifts and personalities.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't find that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And shown that. We're like, this is why you're going to get crazy results with us, because of that crazy relationship that we have and what we've learned from it.
Yeah. I mean, it's so interesting actually, just because like my own experience, like I started out much more like McKenna with being the introvert and everything like that. For me, finding someone else who was more extroverted, anytime I tried to partner with someone or something, we weren't on the same page, and I kind of couldn't give up control, the stress, the anxiety. So for me, my journey has been actually just, stepping into more of that more extroverted side and that kind of thing, like to the extent now that like I don't really call myself either of those labels and that kind of thing. But it's not very often that you can like find someone who can either have an equal balance, and even then if I'm more in one, then I feel the missing of the other piece of me or something like that. And I can just see how powerful that would be in your partnership, but also for your clients, of just having the two perspectives and that kind of thing. Because like not everybody can build skills on both sides of that. Not everybody can find another, or like equally, or can find someone else to help necessarily too. So it's just, I can see that power. Yeah.
Well, it works really beautifully, kind of to Carissa's point, with growing our program together, but we each have other businesses outside of the program as well. Charissa has a couple of different direct sales companies. I have my own direct sales company in the high ticket affiliate marketing space. And it's amazing because we can take everything that we learn from each other and everything that we pour out within the coaching program and still have our own distinctness and still have our own things that we work on in passion projects and things on the side, and then come together within the constraints of Learn, Earn, Impact to, just take like two bonfires and merge them together into this like amazing fireworks show, for lack of a better term, like taking kind of the best of each of us and applying them in our own individual businesses, but then also seeing the magic that happens when we bring that together in Learn, Earn, Impact as well.
Ooh. Oh, that's amazing. So then with all of this stuff that you guys have going on, what do you have coming up in the next couple of months, or 3 to 6 months, or something, like brave things that you have coming up?
Well, I mean, we're working on putting together, like we were talking about, we're in the process of, we did the hard work and the mapping out, the client journey and what would like our perfect fit program that capitalizes on all of our biggest strengths and skills and confidences and all of these things together. Like we mapped it all out. Now it's time to like actually build the thing, sell the thing, like put that into action. But we're also talking about kind of this like longer term vision of like being able to, have these larger ticket programs and even hosting retreats, like where we have women that fly into a destination and we do like a long weekend or a week with them teaching them this brand positioning strategy and helping them uncover and doing, you know, having a photographer come in and do like marketing headshots for them while they're at this retreat, and kind of combining this element of, you know, working with Charissa for the confidence and mindset with working with me with the strategy and implementation, combined with like also fun retreat, because nobody wants to just go somewhere for a corporate event like conference. Like, let's also pair this together with, you know, good food and yoga and hiking and like s'mores by the bonfire, you know, like, and just kind of envisioning like what that's going to look like. And yes, you know, right, McKenna mindset, right? The work it's going to take and the planning and the everybody's meal planning and who's allergic to what and where's the destination and how can everybody get there and lining dates, you know, all the things, with like, what do we want this to feel like? That's like Charissa words. Like, what do we want people to experience, right? What's the transformation? And so looking forward into that, both rebuilding, it's a combination of rebuilding our existing program with actually building something even bigger and better. And then also like completely separate offers that we want to do. Charissa, did you have any other thoughts on this?
I just had a thought and it was so good and it just left the building. Oh my gosh. I was retreats, launching, new program. Oh my gosh. It was so good.
It to feel? How do you want it to feel?
No, but that wasn't it.
I
just have a thought, guys. I promise I had an amazing thought, and for some reason it escaped me. But yeah, I think just us being really brave enough to go all in on not what people are telling us to do, like not what everyone's saying, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, right? But really owning what our skills are, what we really want, and what we see our vision, and going in all in on that, because I think that can be really hard for all the noise, right? People are always telling you what they think that you should be doing. But if you're not, like, if your heart's not in it, if it's just not setting you on fire, like that's probably why you're not finding the success that you want to see, because you're just not brave enough to say, okay, I hear you guys, I love your input, but this is what fires me up and this is what I'm going to go all in on, right? And I think that's the brave part of what we're doing. We've been told before, like, keep growing your group coaching program, keep growing your group coaching, because that's how you can scale faster. But we are feeling this pull. We really want to help women one-on-one on a very like super impactful, and they're going to come out of it and they're going to have a massive transformation in their business and their life. And that's really what we're being pulled to do. So why not do that? Right. And that's going to help us also find clarity in when we start building these retreats, because it's going to kind of be a piece of that in the retreat, only it's going to be live. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, I've never been great. Like, I've had coaches like, just focus on one-on-one, and it's like, but I like group stuff too. And yeah, you really have to go where your heart sort of leads you and that kind of thing, because otherwise I mean, I've seen it so many times, either, you know, with clients, they're trying to do a strategy that doesn't really align, but it's like, oh, the coach is telling them that. So yeah. And then even myself, it's like, oh, the coach is telling me to do it this way, but it doesn't work. Then the minute I tweak it to being more in line with me, and it's like, oh, okay, cool, that's when the money happens. So
well,
yeah, and you feel that.
Oh, exactly. It's so perfect, because it's like, just because, you know, some guru told you that this is the best way, like there's another guru who's going to tell you that that's the most terriblest way. Like, really, when it comes to, honestly, life, business, raising your kids, going to school, growing network marketing gigs, like, there's really no one right or wrong way to do it. It's not that black and white. And one of the things that Charissa and I focus on is there are a million different strategies. Our job isn't to tell you what the right one is. Our job is to help you determine what the best one is for you, that you are on fire about, that you are excited about, that you are passionate about, that plays into your skills and your strengths, and allows you to stand fully, authentically owning who you are and where you are on your journey. And honestly, I think that's the biggest thing that plays into bravery, is not looking for outside validation. For our clients, what helps them find their bravery isn't about us telling them what they're good at. It's not us telling them how they should brand themselves or how they should grow their business. It's us being a sounding board and asking strategic questions and holding up a mirror to say, look at how brave you already are and you didn't even know it. Look at how passionate you are and you didn't even know it. Look what happens when you talk about this topic and you can physically see the change in how they show up and their energy and their excitement. And they're like, yeah. Like 5 seconds ago, they were like over here, like, oh, I'm not going to talk. I'm going to be a fly on the wall on this Zoom. And then instead, it's like, you ask them a couple of questions and then they won't shut up. And you're like, that's the thing you need to be talking about, friend. And not because we're telling you, but because we hold up this mirror and they see themselves in this other light. They step outside of their own shoes for a minute to see what everybody else sees that they can't see from behind their own eyeballs. And it gives them that bravery, not because we did anything or we told them anything or some guru told them anything. It's like, how can we shine back to you what you already know, but aren't willing or haven't been able to admit to yourself? How can we shine back this light that you're putting out, that you're worried isn't worthy? You're worried it's not good enough. You're worried like, I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not articulate enough. I didn't go to school. I did go to school. I went to school for the wrong thing. I had kids. I didn't have kids. It doesn't matter. Like, what sets you on fire? And people get to see themselves on fire and they're like, oh, wow. And we're like, yeah, all those things that we just gave back to you, it was literally just McKenna taking notes as you were talking and then pulling out some of those golden threads and being like, here's your words back to you in a slightly different order. And they're like, oh, that's what I've been trying to say. And we're like, it's what you have been saying. You just didn't hear it because you were speaking it.
Oh,
yes.
wow. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's like those. So all those feelings that people have is because it really is a root cause of the feelings, because they're lacking that clarity in who they are. Like they can't communicate their brand, their message, and their offers because they're lacking clarity in who they are. And like McKenna said, we're not telling them who we are. We're just asking them to tell us who they are, and we're reflecting it back at them. And that's when they get clarity. And oh my gosh, like I've been totally not even acting like myself. Like, why am I doing that? Why did I? Why? Like I'm holding back so much. So yeah, it's really that lack of clarity on who you are and the visions you have and how you want to go about to get that. And it's just that reflection that we give them, and it's life-changing.
What Charissa is really amazing at is helping people to authentically own where they are on that journey as well. I think there's another piece that plays in with that bravery, with that, for her, that confidence, that boldness, is people, especially women who are stepping into leadership, they feel like they have to be farther along than they are. So in our program, we frequently use this analogy of the mountain, right? And a lot of people feel like they have to be at the summit. They have to be at the top of the mountain in order to turn around and teach anybody, in order to like be the expert, in order to be the leader in their industry. And Charissa is really amazing at helping people own that they may only be at the timberline, but you know what? There's a whole lot of people between the timberline and the parking lot where you are ahead of them, that you have these skills, that you have this experience. And Charissa does this beautiful job of helping them to see not so much how far they have to go, but how far that they've come. And all of the people between where they started and where they are now, and helping them to own that place and feel like I can be a leader where I am, not because I know all the things, but because I know this part of your journey so well. You're being their ideal client, right? The people who are 2 or 3 or 5 steps behind them, that you just came out of that journey on the other side, right? You broke out of the timberline and you're like, oh my God, there's a whole mountain up there. And Charissa's like, yo, wait a minute, turn around and look at how far you've come. And look at all of the people dotting the trail behind you who are trying to figure out how to get to where you are. And so Charissa gives these amazing women permission. Like, honestly, I've actually never described it this way before, but it just came to me. Like, what I do is I help them find the strategy to get from the timberline to the summit. What Charissa does is give them the confidence to go forward by recognizing how far they've already come and how they can own where they are at in that journey to help all of the people behind them.
Yes. That is
Carissa, your face. Clearly, I've never used that analogy before. It just came to my mind just now.
We need to record that one.
Well, luckily enough, I am. I need to cut this little bit just for you guys.
Yes, make it a reel and send it to us.
I will. Awesome. Okay. Oh gosh, guys, I know that we're coming up on the end of our time together. It has been amazing. Thank you so much for joining me. I have just really gotten an insight into your world and what it's like to coach with you guys and everything, and just all of the power of what you guys bring together and help people realize is inside them anyway. That's a poor way of saying it, but you get what I'm saying. And just that reflection piece and everything. Oh, thank you so much for all of the amazing things that you have shared. I'm certainly inspired for the rest of my day now because it's morning here in Australia. And just there will of course be links to all of your stuff in the show notes and all that kind of thing, but could you, for those people who are like me, who are like, no, I just want to go find it now, I don't want to read show notes, where can people connect with you? What's the best way to find you?
So honestly, we grow on Facebook. So if you type in the Facebook search bar, Learn, Earn, Impact, like the very first group that's going to come up, you'll recognize, right, Charissa and I on the front page. That is Learn, Earn, Impact. I think strategic brand positioning for rising coaches or something to that effect. It is an amazing group that we have been building over the last 3 years that includes tons of free trainings and resources and templates and all kinds of amazing things around how to position yourself in your industry, not because you're the expert guru, but because you are that unmistakable leader in your industry that can turn around and impact the lives of those around you through your offers. So we highly recommend checking that out. We've got, like I said, tons and tons, trainings, resources, all kinds of things. Come into that group, introduce yourself. We'd love to have you. Carissa, did you have any other thoughts on that?
No, I was just going to say, type my name in Instagram, Facebook, you'll find me. I'm there.
So, Charissa dances on TikTok too,
I dance on TikTok if you want to see me dance every night. But Learn and Impact on Facebook is where we're creating a massive community. But if you just type in our names, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook too. So
awesome. Amazing. Thank you both so much.
Yes, thank you for bringing us into your world. And I hope that your community got some insights from this. I just am grateful for you. It's so good to meet you over there in Australia.
Oh, well, my community's worldwide, so don't worry. It's not just Australia. It's
same.
all over, so yeah.
I like how you just own that. You're like, no, I'm global.
Oh, yeah. I definitely am. The Australian population is too small to just be Australia, if that makes sense. I mean, for a lot of this stuff, like it's I work all around the world, so yeah.
Well, and that's amazing too, because people all around the world, like they need to learn that they have bravery inside of them, that they are capable of that. So I think it's beautiful that you can impact in that global way, not just in a like, haha, I am so great because my podcast is global, but like, people need what you got. So I'm so excited for people to catch this episode and hopefully glean some insights from mine and Charissa's story and all of the amazing speakers you have in your podcast in the future.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
You're welcome. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Business Bravery podcast. Has this episode inspired you to do something brave? Even if it's only send a difficult email, please share it with me on Instagram or other social media channels. Feel free to tag me at Tiffany G Studios. That's TIFFANY. G for golf, STUDIOS, no spaces, no underscores, etc. Or you can use the hashtag Business Bravery Podcast so that I can cheer you on and together we can inspire other coaches and course creators to do brave things in their business and life. Now, I'm Tiffany and I'll leave you with this one last thing. What's one brave thing you're going to do today? It doesn't have to be big. Even the smallest steps can create the most massive results. So again, feel free to share it with me either publicly or privately so that I can cheer you on. That's it from me. Until next time, bye for now.